All right, the Old Crimson Podcast brought to you by the Cougar Collective, your home base for all things Cougar Collective. Please join the 1890 Club for as little as $18.90 a month. It's the most accessible route to supporting Cougar NIL growth. You can also make a one-time donation. If you are a business, you can collaborate your brand as well. If you are a drinker of beer, the Old Crimson legendary lager behind me is brewed by Pike Brewing. All sales benefit the Cougar Collective. Also, Flat Stick Pub, Cougar owned and operated by Andy Largent. I was at the South Lake Union Flat Stick Pub this weekend. Great wings, by the way, at Flat Stick, and it is the underrated item on the Flat Stick menu. Great beer, great pizza, great wings. Huckleberry ice cream.
Oh.
Magnifique.
Wow.
Kirkland, Pioneer Square, South Lake Union, Spokane, Bellingham, and Redmond. They've got you covered for date night, guys' night, ladies' night, large group event, or a father and son. Second half of the Cougs against Hawaii after the Inner Bay Eagles went down in defeat one more time. Flatstickpub.com. I'm not exaggerating. Huckleberry. I never knew they had ice cream. Huckleberry ice cream at Flat Stick Pub.
Well,
unbelievable.
We know you're not exaggerating. The Eagles never win. So
It's
been a rough season.
Started.
It's been a rough season for the Eagles. It's been a rough season. At 0-6, still in the playoffs. First round this weekend.
Oh, God.
Yeah. So everybody's in.
Well, it's 2024. Everyone's got to get in.
Does everybody get a trophy, too? Is that how it works?
Probably, Paul.
Jesus. All right, whatever.
Participation trophies
this weekend?
We're going to give our best effort. We've got different game plans.
I think
Maybe
the coach is getting fired after the season. I think they're going to have to look for some leadership.
Not the head coach. I think the quality control turned defensive coordinator should be. I'll tell you that. He's out. He's out. He's out of a job. And it's the fourth straight week. I mean, you can't make this up. It's the fourth straight week that we will kick off right during the Cougars game. And I can't, you can't make it up.
You're playing at night?
Yes. 6 o'clock at night. I'm like, I see the schedule, San Diego State, 7:30. Jim, I'm like, well, this is great. We'll play early in the morning or the afternoon. I finally get to sit down and watch the whole Cougar game. No, we get the start time, 6 o'clock. I'm like, you can't catch a break. Can't catch a break with these guys. But,
well, maybe you guys will be down 50 early, and they'll call the game, and you'll be able to watch the game from Snapdragon Stadium.
That's not the type of attitude we like here at Inner Bay Eagles. Okay? Stop it. I don't like that. It's hard to beat
a 10-year-olds.
Oh, yeah, come on.
It's hard.
What's the spread, Jim? What are they, plus? Are they minus 35?
Well,
whoever Inner Bay's playing, I'm laying the lumber with both hands.
Hey, Paul, you know this. It's hard.
It is.
They say it's hard to beat a team, 3 times in one season. I think it's hard to beat a team 4 times in one season. And that's what's ahead of Cedar Park Christian. We're coming for you, Cedar Park Christian, coming up on Saturday night.
Oh, God.
Whoever said that had never heard of the Inner Bay Eagles. I think that's saying
Inner Bay Eagles. Hey, you stop it. I don't like it. You stop. There's people at Inner Bay. There's kids on the team that listen to this. I don't like you're talking crap about them, all right?
I'll bet you $5, Jim, that he's like Will Ferrell in that soccer movie where he's throwing, chairs. He's yelling at the referee. He's F-bombing the kids, and then he has to go sit in the car in the van the rest of the half. So I could see Puck being
not yet. I curse under my breath.
Oh,
walk away.
No, Paul, I've seen Puck as a baseball coach, and there's some questionable calls made by umpires, and he keeps it within. He doesn't lash out. He realizes we're talking about kids here.
I walk back in the dugout, and that's where I do my cursing, and then I walk back out. Yeah. I get it out. I don't do it.
I did the Gonzaga Washington State fall ball game just a couple weeks ago down in Pullman, and it went. I think it went 12 innings, and we were doing 4-man. Unfortunately, we have old guys out there doing it, so one of our umpires had to go tinkle. So he ran into the locker room. So we went from 4 to 3. So I'm between first and second, and there's a check swing, and you never want to call a check swing from second base, okay? And I'm standing there, and what does the home plate umpire do? He goes, I'm going, oh, come on, man. But
Yeah,
I saw
what's
his
to put it
hand
on
fly.
you, Paul?
So 3-2 count, and I bang him, and Brandon Harmon, the Gonzaga first page goes, God damn it, Sorensen, you can't call it from second base. And I said, well, I just did. And he goes, that sucks. And I go, I know, I probably kicked it, but I'm not changing it. And it's fall ball, coach, so relax.
Yeah,
Jesus,
it's fall
Louise.
ball. Take it easy.
We kick calls all the time. We kick calls. We get it, you know, and from that perspective, but you do the best that you can as long as you can, and you try not to impact the game, and just stay out of the way and do your best.
All right, let's get into last week real quick. I want a quick question for you. I don't know if you guys, well, I know you watched the game, but so I caught up on, I missed the first half. We caught the second half at Flat Stick, and then I went back and watched the first half. And then I'll be honest with you, 5 minutes in, I had to turn it off. I don't know what's wrong with the CW network, but they got to figure it out. That whatever was it a problem for you guys?
Not on the local CW station, no.
How was it for you, Jim?
It was great.
Was it fine?
You know, I saw
really.
I saw our friend Adam Lewis. He tweeted out how bad the broadcast was, and I thought
it was terrible.
I thought he was talking about the announcers, and then I saw that it was about the picture. But no, in Bend, Oregon, it was fine.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, here in Seattle, and it wasn't just because some people thought it was just a YouTube TV problem. No, it was YouTube TV. It was Direct TV. It was Xfinity. Everyone. It was like this. It would speed up. It would slow down. Speed up. Slow down.
Problems, Puck.
No,
sometimes if you're exchanging, if you're going to different, they could have some.
No. This was Paul. I'm telling you, this for 3 quarters. It looked like it was schizophrenia. It was awful. It was. I mean, I'm not exaggerating. To the point, it was unwatchable.
Did the announcers ever say anything about it? Because they must have gotten complaints.
No, it was bug-eyed Ted Robinson. He doesn't even know what city he was in. Ted. He had no idea.
I like Ted too.
I did too.
Michael Bumpus does a great job. You know who sucks, though, Puck, and you're right, is that Mothershed guy. He's no good.
Oh my God, Michael Mother. Let's go back to the studio with Michael Mothershed. Michael, what'd you see?
So that looked like a foul.
Oh,
wait,
God.
I mean a flag. Where am I?
He's terrible.
No, but he was
a terrible official, and he's terrible at that.
But he was better as an official than he is as a broadcaster. At least he felt like he was in control, or at least he thought he was, of football games. But
all right,
yeah, not a good start for him.
Once we got past the screen that all that, it really in Seattle was terrible. Defense came through. Paul, we saw Johnny Football. We're going to get to Johnny Football here in a second, but all solved with the win against Hawaii, or still some things they need to clean up?
Oh, yeah. There's always things you need to clean up. Couple of things. Ethan O'Connor, basically, he was named the midseason freshman All-American team. 3 picks. I love what he's done. Defensively, you saw pressure. This last game against Hawaii, and let's face it, Hawaii's not a great football team when they get away from Honolulu. It's different when they travel, but Washington State did what Washington State needed to do. And this was John Mateer's most complete game, in my opinion. He threw it great in the first half, 3 touchdowns, ran it much better in the second half, only had to run 8 times, but he had 2 touchdowns, so he had 5 touchdowns overall. And basically then they brought in the other kid, let him have a couple of throws. I thought the defense did a great job. They pressured the quarterback, the run and shoot. Out of 30, I think it was 36 actual pass attempts, WSU had 23 pressures. So 23 times out of 36, they had pressure on the quarterback. And this was, outstanding from that perspective. We got 3 sacks, turnovers. You were able to get, Buddha got a pick. There was just some things I saw. And the other thing I like, Schmedding dialed up the blitz. And this time we talked about this, Jim and Puck, the last time we were on, talking about all those blitz coming from the outside. It's taken forever to get there. Yeah. They shot the gap this time. They were going A-gap big time. They're bringing guys right up the middle. Guess what? Very effective. Yeah. And I think they found some dudes at linebacker that can frickin' pressure the quarterback. So
I thought there was some different. Yeah, I thought go back and look at the snap counts at linebacker.
9 different blitz packages. 9.
Well, no, but I'm saying playing time. They're starting to change things up playing time wise.
Yeah. And you found some guys that, that they've got to drop their ass there's one thing about getting across the line of scrimmage, going after quarterback, but you can't run right by him. You kind of want to run into him and actually knock him on the ground. That's kind of the concept. So I think there's a couple dudes that need to settle, come down, break through the line of scrimmage, beat the offensive lineman, and then drop your butt, find where the quarterback is, put him on the ground. And, that's going to improve as the season went on. I thought they still missed a couple of tackles, but the missed tackles overall were much better this game than they have been the last couple, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Hey, Paul, I actually counted 7.5 blitz packages. I'm not sure how you came up with 9.
I read Jamie's article.
Oh, did you? Is that what it was?
Yeah, he said 9. And that's what Dicker told him. I'm going to believe him, not you. Sorry.
Okay. All right. I wasn't counting blitz packages, Paul. You know me.
I know, Jim. You probably were looking at the bottom stream to find out how your, triple bet package was working so you could go and retire and not have to live in somebody's house in bed.
Well, yeah, I did have the Cougars laying the points, and I was also hoping for a little overaction, but we didn't get that. So what happened? Why was Jackson Potter in there? I guess this is a question we can ask Jamie, but I'm just wondering why Zevi wasn't out there for the backup role.
Preserving his eligibility.
Yeah, they're going to redshirt him. They're going to basically.
Are they?
Okay. You get 4 games. You get 4 games, and Jackson needs something. Oh. He's picked the offense up better than anybody else, and didn't look bad. Came in through a couple completions. Oh. This is how you develop. You got to get your backups sometime. And so, and we talked about the punter. We said if he wasn't going to play this week, probably going to redshirt. Well, Dickert came out and said he's going to redshirt. He can play 4 games and a bowl game and not lose eligibility. They're going to bring him back next year, and they're doing the same thing for Zevi. So I think it's great.
I don't think but I don't think they did that to bring Zevi back next year.
You think Zevi's gone?
Yeah, I think he wants to go play someplace else.
He's not beating out Mateer is what's happening.
Well, that's the point. So my guess is they did him a solid, and they said, "All right, we're not gonna burn it for you. You came here, and we promised you would compete for the job. We gave you every right to compete for the job. You didn't win it. He wants to play football again. He knows he's not going to play there with Mateer there. He's not going to play next season.
Who knows if Mateer's going to be there next year?
Mateer's going to be there next year."
Look at all they got. Come on, we got the casino, Paul. And he's got a truck deal,
dude. We got a truck and barbecue. Paul. He's a Texas guy.
And casino.
Paul, Paul, I know you don't like to gamble, man. I do, but John Mateer is going to get a 7-figure offer somewhere.
I think he's staying. And
I'm with Paul. I think he stays.
You think we suck
you
on
guys
the
are suckers,
NIL?
Man? Huh?
No.
Okay.
Well, we've made an attractive package for him.
Gave an opinion. We think he's staying.
Than what people think it is. And we just brought his mom up from Texas, and so she can come and hang out and watch him
staying.
Now. And he's a happy dude. He just have to make sure the girlfriend comes over after mom leaves.
He's got barbecue. He's got a new truck.
He's got money in the bank,
and he's got a casino deal.
He represents Cosmic Crisp, the Apple guy. So you can't even go to Texas and be the Apple spokesperson.
Paul, come on. I want to believe you. Puck, I want to believe you too. John Mateer, if he keeps going 23 and 27 and has 3 touchdowns through the air, 2 on the ground, if he keeps doing that kind of stuff the rest of the year, if Cam Ward got 7 figures, John Mateer is going to get 7 figures. And I love the
Cam Ward graduated.
Hey, Paul, wait a minute.
Cam Ward's a grad
Shut the hell up. I'm not done yet. I love the collective.
He just wants to be negative because this is the only way he can operate.
I'm not going to be negative. Mateer's coming back, in my opinion. So I'm going to stay with
I want Mateer for life in Pullman. That's where I am. I want that. But the skeptic in me is
with us.
Jesus Christ, how many times do I have to tell you to shut the hell up? I'm not done yet.
That's only 2. I'm going for 3.
Why do I still love you? I just don't understand. God, I feel like I'm married to you,
Hey, I agree with you. Let's just, I agree with you.
Leaving, but I don't see how we can afford to keep it.
Then shut up. Shut up on the freaking transfer shit, man.
Culture only goes so far. Family atmosphere only goes so far. I love Pullman, too. Somebody offers me 7 figures. I'm going, well, how quick can I get out of here?
Okay. I'm just saying that I agree with you that I think schools are going to come after him. And they already have come after him. Yep. I am just of the opinion I think he's going to stay. Now, again, you don't think he's going to stay. That's fine. I'm just telling you that the reason Zevi Eckhaus didn't play is because he's not staying. He's not going to come back to Washington and say, I don't believe he's coming back here. And I think they did him a solid by saying you can preserve your college eligibility and go in the portal, after the season.
And you can look at that two ways, Puck. One, he's not going to stay because he knows Mateer's going to stay. Or two, he knows he can't beat Mateer out, so he's going to go somewhere else if that's the case. Now, nobody said anything about that. Dickert's kind of kept that within the family. But I think you're hitting the nail right on the head. And I also think, everything that Jim argued about when he told me to shut the hell up 3 times. Thank you, Jim. Appreciate that.
Twice.
My love level went down a little bit. It's going back up again, but it was dipping a skosh. Is basically the culture he built. He's in a program that he's getting better and better. Now, this is the first game that he truly, and this is game 7, dude. So he's 7 games into this. Mateer was 2 years into it as a starter and was a grad transfer and leveraged Florida and Florida State to basically, Miami and Florida State, to make some great money. Now, if Mateer gets $1 million or $1.5 million and he decides to go, wish him the best. I don't see it, but I think they've built a good enough package, and we're supporting it on the back end to make it harder, which is exactly why we do the NIL. Thank you, Cougar Collective. Thank you, Flat Stick Pub. Thank you, Old Crimson Lager, for sponsoring this show, and you guys are making a difference. We're making it harder for these guys to leave.
Yeah, I mean, Jim, I share your concern about it. I'm just like, there's like 5 games left in the season. I'm not really worried about what he's going to do at the end of the year. Like, if he leaves, then he leaves. But I want to see if these guys can run the table at the end of the year.
Well, I'm with you on that, too.
More games they want to win.
Yeah, I want us to run the table, too. But, yeah, there's a thought in my mind. It's like, oh, my God, we got to get the most we can out of Mateer because we're only going to see him for 5 or 6 more games.
Sure. I mean, it's
Paul's laughing.
That happens. But this is the thing I can't stand about us.
This is a Cougar mindset.
It's just God.
Exactly
oh my God. Kyle Smith's going to get in the tournament. We're going to lose Kyle Smith. Oh my God. Jake Dickert's going to win 10 games. We're going to lose Jake Dickert. Fucking God. It's exhausting. How about we just appreciate the now?
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to,
okay.
You're not appreciating the now.
I do appreciate the now.
I know you do, but it's like we just get so worked up about what's going to happen rather than just. If he stays, then great. If he doesn't, he doesn't stay.
Yeah,
I don't know if any of these guys.
I fucking hate all of it. Okay, I hate all that fucking bullshit. I do. I just can't stand it.
You got to get over it.
It affects schools like us more than a lot of other schools. Wow. So anyway, okay. I'm sorry. I got sidetracked. I want to be positive because this has been a great season so far. I mean, we've exceeded expectations, and you can say, well, the schedule helps. Well, whatever, man. I mean, we're 6-1, and I like our chances of maybe even can you imagine if we make that college football playoff? How cool that would be. It'd be just the biggest fuck you to everybody if we ended up in that thing. So
and that's the relevance.
I apologize. I told myself not to swear today, and here I am swearing. I'm sorry.
You've told me to kiss my ass 3 times. You've had 4 F-bombs already.
No,
Puck and I haven't even gotten out of the way, man.
Paul, I said shut up to you twice. I didn't do it 3 times. Yeah.
I got a 3rd one because I pissed you.
Did you?
Okay. I felt it was 3.
Yeah, I thought
I'll go back to the tape. It definitely was 3 times.
Hey,
I mean, they're heavy.
We can get that moth brawl guy or whatever his name is coming and go. I think
Mothership.
Mothership. It might have been 3.
If you look there, you can see the offensive lineman has a fistful of jersey, and he doesn't.
How do you think he would have done for the Texas and Georgia game with that call at the end of the game, where they ended up going against the replay and then changing it on the field?
One of the worst things that could have ever happened. I know this isn't Cougar related, but one thing it's all college football related.
Yeah.
What that did is now anytime you disagree with a call, you're going to get the field peppered with stuff. Mm-hmm. So they can stop it and people will react to it. I mean, it's the dumbest thing that they did. I mean, they ultimately got it right, but I mean, the precedent they set was certainly a bad one. Jim, they're heavy favorites against San Diego State this week. I think the last I see 14.5, 15.
Yeah, that seems like a big number. Right? A big number to be laying on the road. San Diego State, I don't think is that bad. I mean, you can make a case for us to get, given 18.5 against Hawaii. As Paul noted, Hawaii not the same team on the road, but you're taking on a San Diego State team that's at home. and wants to prove
Snapdragon.
They want to prove their mettle as, a future Pac-12 team. And, I think that's too many points to be given up. I mean, I think we're going to win, but San Diego State coming off 2 wins, and you can say, well, Colorado State and Wyoming, so what? But they won the games. And, I like us to win, but not cover that 14.5.
Well, they got really one playmaker, and it's their running back.
Yeah, he's good.
That's it. And then the quarterback is your former co-host Danny O'Neill, who's a freshman quarterback who he can't hit water if he fell out of a boat. So, I mean, if they can stop the running back, they should win the game easily.
Well, they got a quarterback or a wide receiver transfer from Colorado State that was pretty good last year. They like him, and their DC is a former UW defensive coordinator, as well. And they've got the number one leader
Who
in
is that?
sacks. I don't remember. He's from UW. I don't care. I don't really follow those asshats. So, but I just read that it was a UW guy somewhere. Oh, hell no. Why should I?
Now I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued who it is. Well, the head coach is Sean Lewis. He was the guy that spent last year the coordinator under Dion, and then Dion got sick of him and fired him.
That's right. And he got fired, and that's when they brought somebody else in that had NFL lineage. Trey White has 11 sacks for San Diego State. He's leading the nation. They got some dudes. The Cougs are only 1-1 against San Diego State. They lost in the Paul Wolf era, and they won in the Bill Doba era. This will be game number 3. And Snapdragon, I guess a couple of weeks ago they played Hawaii down there, and they sanded the field. So when you play golf, we're all golfers. You know how when they do the greens, when they punch them and they put sand over it?
That's what they did.
Dickert said it was awful. So he's hoping that the 3-week growth period. And here's another thing. Those knuckleheads have had 2 weeks to prepare for the Cougs. They've had a bye this week or last week. Yeah. So they're going to know everything that's going on. So there's going to be some ad-libbing on the fly based on some new stuff that they haven't seen the Cougs have that they're going to have to adjust to and adapt. Having 2 weeks is not necessarily a good thing for Washington State.
I'm probably more concerned about their defense than I am of their offense, just after, reading a few things about San Diego State. So, and then being on the road, a night game at that newer, I don't know how new the stadium is, but I'm sure it's going to be full. People will be fired up for this game and lubed up after having all day drinking, the students and everything. Well, I'm concerned about that game, but I was concerned about the Hawaii game too.
Yeah.
Eric Schmidt, he's the defensive coordinator. He went to UW. I don't remember him.
Yeah, he spent some time at UW as one of the assistants, I guess.
Yeah,
so if he has purple lineage, then he instantly sucks as a coach.
Okay,
that's how I'm looking at it.
Well, that's good. I'm glad.
That's my insight as a color analyst. That's basically what we're talking about.
God, I'm looking at their coaches. First of all, they all look like they look like they're either carnies or they work as roadies for like a rock band. I
don't know what you're looking at, but don't they look happy too? They're living in San Diego. That's always been your dream.
Yeah, they look miserable. They all look miserable. But the best thing is the running backs coach, Darian Hagan. God, did I love Darian Hagan, the old CU buff. Yeah,
yeah, he was a hell of a player. He could play.
Yeah, he was. I don't know. I mean, they don't do much offensively, but I was panicked about Hawaii last week, and then they kind of handled Hawaii. I mean, I think they got bailed out a little bit. Their defense was able to bail them out. Hawaii was able to move the football again on Washington State. I think the one thing that I take away from the Hawaii game that you look at San Diego State is this: they couldn't run the ball again, and they emphasized all week how they wanted to be more physical in running the football, and they couldn't run. They averaged 3 yards a carry, and that's
123 yards in the game.
Yeah,
that would be awesome in a Leach attack game if we were talking about Mike Leach, but we're not.
You think there's any issue with Dickert and Arbuckle at all?
No.
Okay.
No. Arbuckle, he's young. He's one of the youngest coordinators in the country. He's learning. He's, second year into his tenure here at Washington State. They lost a tight end. He got hurt. I think Cooper was a kid. And then they had the other tight end. I think it's Mathers that caught a touchdown.
Yeah, and Cooper's been great.
He's tied Layton's touchdown record for tight ends at 4 already, and he's still got 5 games to go. So they're utilizing the tight end a little bit more, especially inside the red zone. I think you'll see them utilize the tight end more during, between the 20s now, because a lot of the defenses are starting to work the sidelines on the Cougs, in terms of how they cover. That's leaving the middle open. That 15 to 20-yard route in the middle of the field is wide open. And then you have twin safeties. You can split the middle. If you can bring a tight end up there with your receivers going down the sidelines, those safeties have to make a decision on where they're going to go, and they're going towards the wide receivers. So
let's get a practice report. You can Jimmy ask Jamie about the situation with Potter and Zevi. Jamey Vinnick now will join us here from CougFan.com. Jamie, of course, covering the Cougs there for CougFan.com. Jamie, thank you. How are you? Everything good?
Everything's great. How about you guys?
Good. We're doing
Jamie.
great. I don't want to steal Jim's questions. I'm going to keep it for Jim.
Go ahead, Puck. You want
okay.
Yeah.
He's going to ask about the kicker. So we'll just wait for that.
No. But Jim brought this up earlier, and I want to know if you have any more intel on the situation. Why in the game last week they went with Jackson Potter over Zevi.
Yeah, and Jake has said obviously that it's an internal thing. And this is purely my speculation. My guess is Zevi is redshirting, and they are doing that so either they can have him next year or to provide him an opportunity to go play somewhere else next year. Like, hey, you came in and you competed, you knew you weren't guaranteed a starting spot. Good. We appreciate that. We're not going to burn your red shirts in garbage time just for the sake of doing so. So that, and again, that's just what I believe. That's my own personal opinion. Again, Jake hasn't said that. No one has said that, but that's kind of what I'm thinking, is that they're saying we don't want to, because what happens if, they need him in the last 2 games or something? Well, then shoot, his red shirt's gone because you threw him in against Hawaii up 32 for, 5 plays to hand it off. So that's kind of my thing. Right. I think if something were to happen to John, Zevi would be the guy who they bring in. And Jake said that. Jake said that he is the backup quarterback, but there's no sense in burning a game of the kids' eligibility, or burning a game of the kids' eligibility for 7 minutes of garbage time when he could use that to go play next year and try and pursue his dreams.
Yeah, I think we all agree, or maybe with the exception of the Portland State game, this was the best game that Mateer had. We like seeing the 23-27 and not running as much. Do you think that's kind of where they want him to be? Certainly the 23-27 you're going to take every week, but having fewer running opportunities in the last 5 games?
Yeah, and I think it's, Jake talked about this yesterday, trying to find that blend of where you want Mateer obviously throwing the ball. He's a quarterback. I mean, that, at the end of the day, that is still his position is a quarterback. And I was talking to Jack Thompson last week, and Jack said, Mateer's got to decide if he's a runner that has to throw or if he's a quarterback that has the ability to run. And I think what we saw Saturday is a quarterback that has the ability to run. He only ran 8 times. That was his fewest since Portland State. They didn't drop a ton of quarterback draws for him, but him having that should be used, I think, to some degree as a luxury, not as, an every down, hey, he needs 20 carries a game. First off, I think it's hard for any quarterback to sustain success running 20 times a game. And I think it's a way to get him banged up and get him hurt. So I think this is probably about the balance they want, where he's, obviously, yes, they want 23-27, but, he's throwing 25, 30 times a game, and he's, getting 4 or 5 designed runs in situations like we saw them use. I don't know if, hey, 2nd and 10, let's run a quarterback draw, but, 1st and goal from the 7, that's a pretty good place to run it. Or you need a yard on 3rd and 1, that's where you kind of use his legs. So I do think what we saw is kind of what their ideal scenario is in terms of, hey, this is how we're going to use him. We don't want to overdo it, but we don't want to also take away his legs.
I think a couple things that I saw that I really like. I think Arbuckle, kind of filed down the offensive game plan for Mateer, and it was a difference maker. That was his best game. But I want to focus on the defensive side in terms of what Schmedding did. You go back to the San Jose State game in the 4th quarter and overtime, brought more pressure, started to blitz. They weren't getting to him with 4 guys, so they brought 5 and 6. Well, guess what? Against Hawaii, those first couple drives didn't look great, and then they started bringing different blitz packages. You wrote about 9 different packages that Schmedding had put in there, but I love the fact that they were shooting guys through the A-gap and bringing their linebackers, whether it was a delay blitz or a loop or the A-gap blitz. They were bringing pressure right up the middle, and I thought that was very effective. And I think that's the tweaking of the staff that you're starting to see. These coordinators are starting to get a feel for their personnel, and they're also starting to do a better job of working things in during the game. Is that something you saw? Do you think that that's something that we'll see continued improvement on moving forward?
I think for sure. And I think, again, Dickert said as much of we've got to be able to get home. And the one-on-ones weren't necessarily working, although they did generate pressure with the four-man rush sometimes. But this is a way you keep offenses off balance, Are they bringing four, or is a linebacker coming late? And even when they're bringing the four-man rush, it's not just D tackles go straight, edges off the edge. There's twists, there's stunts, there's different ways to get to the quarterback. And does it help that Hawaii's line is not good? Yes, it does. But I think when you look at the way they even got pressure late against Fresno State, it was because they started generating these different types of blitzes. I think they have found a really good role for Keith Brown because he's as athletic, as fast as anyone on that defense. You just burst him through the hole. I mean, he forced the grounding call against Fresno State. He lit up Shager this past week. I think it ended up being a completion, but he got a good hit. You bring McKenna through the middle, and I think that's where you can really weaponize things because it takes two offensive linemen to block David Gusta. That center and that guard, they've got to come. And even then, it doesn't sometimes matter. He broke through a couple of double teams. So you have him occupied. You've got one of the other interior guys blocking, either whether it's Dinbu, Laufa, or Lamb. The tackle's on the outside. Well, suddenly, there's a lot of room up the middle for a McKenna, for a Thornton, for a Brown, for an Alukta to burst right through. And then you start throwing some safety blitzes in there, too. And I think those really threw Hawaii off balance. Tanner Moku hadn't blitzed all season, and suddenly he rushes 3 times. Gushkin hadn't, maybe 1 to 2 blitzes a game. He's coming in. They bring Boogie Wilson on blitzes. And it wasn't just, all right, 4 guys and a safety. Sometimes they drop the edges back. Sometimes you've got 2 defensive tackles, an edge. They're just very, very different varieties of blitzes to where it keeps offenses off balance. And I think, again, you saw that. And 3 sacks isn't, incredible number by any means. But if you watch that game, you saw how much the pressure affected Hawaii's offense. How many times, the pressure got there. There was a throwaway. And credit to Braden Shager because he stood in there and made some really tough throws while getting crushed. I mean, there were a few times where Wazzu got there, hammered him, and he still delivered. And that's just a tip of the hat. Not every quarterback is going to be able to do that. But I think what you saw is what this pass rush can do and how it can be effective without always having to get 8, 9, 10 sacks. And I think we saw that early in the season. I think they did a good job of that against Portland State and Texas Tech. I think after that, it started to dry up a little bit. That was some of the issues against Boise. It was some of the issues early against San Jose State, even somewhat against Washington. We saw it towards the end of Fresno State. We saw it again against Hawaii, where it's not just sacks, it's pressures. I mean, they had over 20-some pressures. They got to him. They hit him. That throws an offense out of balance.
Hey, Jamie, real quick before you go, update us on the situation with Nick Haber.
Yeah, it sounds like I've kind of had a hunch that they're going to be heading this way for a while, that they're going to redshirt him. I think the combination of there's only 5 regular season games left. The bowl game, as far as I know, and I'm almost positive, does not count against your eligibility. So he could play 4 regular season games and the Alamo Bowl or the Holiday Bowl or the national championship game, and it doesn't count. Janikowski's been doing a great job punting the ball. I think that's probably played into it. And, at this point, if you're Washington State, you say, look, we've got Dean punting the ball well. We sit this guy 1 more game, and then if we really want to bring him back in, he can punt 4 games. We have him next year. So I think as it has gotten to this point and kind of where we're at now, I think the coaching staff, and again, this is what Dickert said Monday, that the red shirt makes the most sense. It just doesn't make much sense to punt him 5 games to burn his last year of eligibility when you've been punting the ball perfectly fine, and you can have him for a full season next year.
Hey, Jim, you have something else?
Well, just real quick, because Jamie, I was negative earlier in the Old Crimson podcast, and I want to counterbalance that with some positivity, if you don't mind. The last 5 games, we're going to be favored against all of these teams, and probably a sizable favorite in all 5 of the games. I'm just wondering, what you think. You're out there every day covering the team. Do you think we've got a good shot at winning all 5?
I mean, I think yes. I think they absolutely have a very good shot at winning all 5. I think, as we also all know, college football is weird. And, the favorite team doesn't always win. And I think it'll be very hard for them to win all 5 games just in the nature of college football. But I think they absolutely have a shot. I think there is no complacency. I think you felt that around the team just in terms of the way they've talked, just in terms of the actual game action. I think that's what hurt them last year. I think they went 4-0. They started reading their own news headlines, and then suddenly you look up and you're 4-6, and then suddenly you're 5-7. Mm-hmm. So I think that there is still a drive and a fire behind this team that maybe there wasn't at times last year. And I think they also know that, they've got something to prove. And some of these games still have a lot of, kind of extra meaning behind them. There's still the Oregon State game, which is going to have just the natural fuel of what your new rivalry is. Wyoming is dickered against his old team. You even look at Utah State. Well, they came to Pullman last time and beat Wazzu back in 2021. Mm-hmm. Even if you look at this weekend, there's a lot of guys from San Diego on the roster. So there's some fuel, I think, for every game that are going to get them fired up. And then I just think the way that Dickert coaches and the way he approaches every game, he's not guys, we're going to be fine. Just go out there, play your best, etc. It's a very motivating approach that he takes. And I think because of that, they do very much have a shot to win all 5. It's going to come down to execution. They have to go out there and execute. It doesn't matter if you're playing any of these teams or anyone else. If you don't come out with your best shot, doesn't matter. You're not going to beat anybody. So I think as long as they do that, I think if they play best or close to their best, I'm not sure the remaining 5 teams can beat them.
Yeah. All right, Jamey, we appreciate it, man. Thanks for checking in. Love the visit always. And again, go read and follow Jamey. Go read all of his work up there at cougfan.com. Thanks, Jamey.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
There he is, Jamey Vinnick, covering the Cougs there for cougfan.com. And some news reported by John Canzano up at johncanzano.com. The Pac-12 has hired a firm to do their media rights deal, Octagon, which, again, if you follow this whole media rights thing, Octagon is one of the premier outfits that negotiate TV deals and media deals. This was the first step that they were going to do, try to go to market with their media deal and then add that 8th team. John, this week when I caught up with him, alluded to a conversation he had with Mark Few last week, Paul, and Few was, I don't know if he was letting something out of the bag, but he was just saying, hey, with us joining the conference, this is going to open it up to other schools, and kind of alluded to other schools, maybe one of them coming back.
Well,
and I was kind of interested in that one. I assume he's talking about one of the former Pac-12 schools that left coming back.
Remember, Utah does not have a grant of rights with the Big 12. They do not have to pay a fee. That was part of the concession for them coming in. So they could leave, whenever they wanted to. I know Arizona State, for a fact, did not want to go to the Big 12. Cal is not happy right now, with the things that are going on.
Bring them on back. Let's go.
Here's the best part. You think the commissioner
Cam Rising for a 10th year.
If the commissioner of the Mountain West Conference is feeling really good right now, Washington State is shoving it up their ass, and basically going out and winning games and beating that conference and basically stating, you know what, you guys were pricks to us. Quid pro quo, baby, because we're going to win it. We're going to shove it, and then we're going to bury you. And that's like play up, and play the game, baby. I think it's fantastic.
Hey, did you know, under this agreement, right, that we still have the agreement, the old Pac-12 schools with the bowl affiliates, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
For the next 2 years. 2 years.
So Colorado right now is headed to the Holiday Bowl. USC is in the Vegas Bowl. ASU in the Sun Bowl. Washington, God, I hope they go to the LA Bowl. It's the crappiest bowl game you can go to. And our Cougs right now, at least I'm just reading general, the Alamo Bowl. Yeah. That would be a fun one to go to.
The shades of Gardner Minshew and Iowa State. How about that? Brock Purdy and Gardner Minshew, they're both kind of starting quarterbacks. I think Gardner's had a tough game last week. But those two guys have done very well on the West Coast, throwing the football in the NFL.
Well, that would be hopefully maybe they could sneak into the college football playoff. It's going to probably be a long shot. Going to be a long
Alamo Bowl. I mean, we love San Antonio and the Riverwalk, but
sure,
come on, man, that 12-team playoff. And I think I'm with you
guys. It's going to be really hard for them to get in, man.
I would welcome every Pac-12 defector. I'd welcome them all back except for Washington. We just say no, we don't want you guys. No, you keep going to
that'd be the one.
You keep going to Bloomington. You keep playing 9 a.m. games. You keep flying at 30,000 feet. Screw you guys. We don't want you back. That'd be
They're taking 2 planes. They're going 2 planes on every trip back east, too, by the way.
Yeah, well, yeah, because one with all their equipment and stuff. Yeah, you know who I'm not envious of is those guys that've got to drive the trucks.
Oh, man.
Jesus, man.
Who was it? The Stanford guy. In back-to-back weekends, he stayed on the East Coast. They had to drive from Palo Alto to Syracuse and then came back and went to North Carolina State or whatever the heck it was.
I don't feel sorry for them at all. I don't feel sorry for any of them.
Well, it's funny. You hear about the complaints now that it's actually happening. I mean, we were able to fast forward just sitting in our chairs at home going, yeah, that's going to be a pain in the ass for everybody, and it's turned out that way.
I just think that the reality these schools didn't understand the reality ahead of them. And what they didn't understand is I think their arrogance thought that they weren't going to get all these like shitty time slots. Like they weren't going to do that to the Big Ten teams who were already there.
Right.
They've already been in the conference. Why would they do that to them? They were going to do it to the new schools. You're going to get the shitty time slots. You're going to play on Friday. You're going to play on the network that your audience on the West Coast didn't get in the beginning of the season. So, I mean, I don't know why they thought it was going to be easy. It's not going to be. It's going to be the same thing next year. It's going to be the same thing as long as they remain in that conference. They're going to take care. The Big Ten is going to take care of their own first before they do anything for the West Coast.
Shares? How long are they getting half
7
shares
years.
for?
7 years.
Is it 7? I thought it was 6.
7 years. 7 years from now, the new Pac-12 might be making more than Washington's going to make for a share.
Apple would have done $50 million per school based on last year's results for football and basketball. Think about that. And here's the other thing. The reaction you had Cohen, the athletic director who's now at USC, who was Washington's AD, and DeBoer, the head coach at Washington, is now at Alabama. They were the 2 big decision makers about Washington not wanting to play in the Pac-12 network because they weren't getting the exposure. None of those guys are even at Washington anymore. So,
hey, viewers and listeners, did you guys know that Kalen DeBoer was at Alabama before Paul mentioned that to you?
It's riveting insight. That's what you get from us.
Hey, Paul, did you mention Jen Cohen?
Yes.
Paul, back in the day, you would have fluffed me up.
You teed him up, Moore. Well done, boy. That's awesome.
God, this would have been the game to go to. God, I cannot believe I'm not going to this game.
Oh, I know.
You got a football game at 6:00.
Enterbay!
Eagles.
7:30 at Snapdragon Stadium with all the local beer being poured down your throat. Oh my God!
It's a beautiful stadium, by the way. It's beautiful, man. You're going to love it down. Coug fans that go there are going to have a good experience. It's a nice setup.
Yeah, it's great because it's actually on campus or close enough to campus.
It's in the old Murphy Stadium. It's the old footprint of yes, it is. I guarantee it. By the way,
I thought it was closer to this.
They didn't tear down Jack Murphy, did they?
Yeah, they flattened it and they put this stupid thing in there.
I thought it was closer to the campus than Jack Murphy.
It's Jack Murphy's footprint is where it is.
Okay,
the ghost of Jack Murphy Stadium. I love that place. So he played back in the Stone Age.
You think they'll ever name a stadium after a sports writer again?
A urinal, maybe. The Moore Tinkler. I think that might be appropriate.
Moore Tinkler.
The Puck Pier.
That's 2 Tinkle references in one podcast.
Well, I'm not dropping the F-bomb. I'm just talking about urinating. What's wrong with that? I have to go, by the way. So can you wrap this thing up?
Oh, sorry, Paul.
You can go for a 3 for on Tinkle there, Paul. Jeez, that's really impressive.
Sorry that we got in your way of whatever. You got fun planned here for the rest of the day. All right, so we don't think they're going to have much problem against San Diego State.
No.
Okay.
I think they score 40 plus.
40 plus. All right. Yeah, I don't think there's going to be much of a problem. Unless they just get, cocky and ahead of themselves and yada, yada, yada. But we'll see. I hope they institute the same game plan that they had. I think offensively, they dumbed it down a little bit, got to some of Mateer's favorite plays. He looked the best. You were right about that, Paul. And then defensively, just keep up that aggressive kind of blitzing style.
Yeah, you got one more point?
Yeah,
You
what
had to
they
go.
did that I really liked, I know that's why I'm holding it, because this is riveting podcast stuff, is they were throwing slants. They were taking little quick RPOs. And did you watch Mateer's footwork? When he set his feet and that ball came out, he was awesome. And that's what he did. And he released it quickly, and he hit his guys in stride. He was
the RPO game should honestly, with him, should be their entire game, because it just you have to take advantage of his athleticism. He's not a true air raid quarterback, and he need to adjust it, moving forward with him. And they ran the ball again at times better out of the pistol, Jim. When they went pistol,
yeah, I noticed that. They need to keep doing that. Make sure next time you have Arbuckle on, you give him your 2 cents, would you?
I will. The Old Crimson Podcast is in the books. Oh, remind people that are watching and listening to this, go check out Cougs Corner, which is also brought to you by Flat Stick Pub and the Cougar Collective. This week's guest, Dean Janikowski. Man, awesome.
Great story.
Just this awesome story. Great kid. And it was a really, really fun conversation. Huge golf fan. He rides motorbikes. He builds motorcycles. He's built motorcycles for teammates. He talks about his mom, of course, his foundation.
Look how much money he's raised. How about that?
He's raised over $100,000 in the honor of his mom, who passed away 3 years ago from cancer. So every kick counts for Dean Janikowski. So go to his website, deanjanikowski.com, and make a donation there. All right, Old Crimson in the books, again, brought to you by the Cougar Collective. Go join the 1890 Club for as little as $18.90 a month, or you can contribute more if you would like. Also, go drink the Old Crimson Legendary Lager right there. It's wonderful, brewed by Pike Brewing. Go visit cougarcollective.org, and then go find yourself at your nearest Flat Stick Pub. 6 locations across the state: Kirkland, Pioneer Square, South Lake Union, Spokane, Bellingham, and Redmond. Get the wings, real good wings, and the Huckleberry ice cream. I'm telling you. It's great. Flatstickpub.com. Check out this episode on YouTube. Also, listen to it on Apple, Spotify, wherever you find your podcast, and of course, up at pucksports.com. We'll talk to you next week, boys. Thank you.
Go Cougs.